What's up, guys? It's James from James's Reptiles. There was no video yesterday, and there's not really a reason for that. I just wasn't feeling very well. I was tired. I've been doing daily videos for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months now. Except Thursdays. I always skip Thursdays, and of course I skipped yesterday, a Saturday. That will be good news. I won't be skipping Thursdays anymore. I'll be doing 7 days a week in just about 2 or 3 weeks time. I'm actually quitting my second job to work part-time for Glenn's Reptiles. He breeds snakes at his house, and he offered me more pay and the right hours I wanted, so I accepted that, and I'll slowly transition out of everything, and eventually it'll just be me and my animals. I got some crazy news yesterday. One of my scorpions gave birth and one of the babies died. I showed that. It had these weird giant white mites on it, so I took all my scorpions, all 3 of my Asian forest scorpions, and I separated them. I put them in the bedroom. And as I was doing that, I checked on my other adult, and it had babies too. Now, I must have just had babies because they look fresh, and they weren't there the other day. But that's crazy. Now I'm going to have like 40, 50 little scorpion babies. So I'll have those for sale. Probably not the SAC show. That's probably too early. What's the next one? San Mateo, and then maybe like Santa Rosa, I think, is the one after that. I don't know. There's one in October, one in November. I'll be vending both those shows. Sacramento show, I will be at Glenn's booth. I'm wearing a Glenn shirt and a Glenn hat just to support Glenn. The animals I will be selling will be my animals, but for all sorts of legal reasons, we have to call it Glenn's. The San Mateo show and the next show after that, I'll probably be at the same booth as Armando, or Armando if you actually know him. He likes to go by Mondo. Drymarchon Melanus rubidus on Instagram. Awesome dude. So I have my permit. I've never vended a show on my own, so I'm kind of nervous. I'm taking slow steps. Like I'm just trying to vend a couple more, and then I got to figure out. I think there's some other paperwork I have to do before. There's some like other tax paperwork, but I'll get that figured out. I had professional pictures of my Black Knight taken the other day, and look at that, he shed. Let me check his toes real quick, because the last thing I want is for him to have lost some toes. Nope. Yeah, it's weird. He looks like he's about to shed. I'm not really sure. Anyway, he shed out. What else is going on? I sold a whole roach colony. I sold it for like $60. They got a good deal. I got $60. I'm going to WWE in October, and a little bit of spending money doesn't hurt. I can restart my colony easy peasy. I was actually looking at my colony, and I found what looked like a couple discoid roaches. So I'm kind of nervous about that. And that was after I restarted a colony. Like I went out and got another bin, and I have an extra one there. And so I'm selling another one today, hopefully. And when I do, when I restart the next colony, I'm only going to put adult females and males that I know are dubia. I'm going to like hand pick each single one just so I know. Because having discoid, even if there's like a pair in there, like if they're breeding and if they're even possibly crossbreeding with my dubia, I don't really, there's not directly a problem with that. It's just, it's not clean. I don't feel right selling them as, hey, here's a bunch of dubia. Like maybe there's a discoid mixed in, maybe there's some hybrid. I don't know. It's weird and it's complicated, and I would just like it to be plain and simple. So just like that, I'm gonna feed my crested geckos. I will show you how I do that real quick in case you haven't seen it, in case you don't have crested geckos, and we'll figure out the rest of the video after that. Right here next to my Larabars are my 3 scorpions. I moved them out of my reptile room because this one who had babies, one of the babies died up at the front, and you can't really see because scorpions in the dark. Well, yeah, you can see. It's got these weird little, they're big for mites. It's got these weird big mites on it, and I'm not quite sure what that is. But they're white. They're not the dark kind, so I'm not sure. And then this one had babies just the other day, probably yesterday actually. one of them's got a little something on its bum. I don't know if that's dirt or not. But that was shocking. I thought I had a pair. I wasn't sure what I had actually. And then I still have this little one I'm raising up. I bought as a baby. So I've had that one for about a year and it's still that size. I honestly really have no idea how long they take to get to size. But I'll probably try to keep a female from each parent and just as soon as all the babies come off, I'm gonna redo their enclosures, probably with like plastic hides and maybe even on paper towel for a minute, just to try to get the mites off of them. I do have Prevenamite. It's kind of, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do yet, just because Prevenamite's pesticide and scorpions are insects, so you'll get to follow along with that and you'll see the babies come off, and I'll probably have them for sale somewhere between $5 and $10 at the reptile shows. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to get myself just a little tub lid. It's a little dirty. I was defrosting mice and I also spill Pangea powder on it all the time. And I just line my cups up. I know exactly how many of what size I need, just because I know all my geckos. If I sell one, I make one less. If I hatch one, I make one more. So once you have it the first time, you kind of just know. And today we'll feed Fig with insects, because I have a lot of it. I actually just spent $75 on Pangea.com ordering some food, so when that shows up, it'll definitely be in the video. I got, these are 8 ounce, I got like two 16 ounce bags plus shipping. So they're like $35 each and shipping's like $6. I think you save probably like $3 or $4 doing it that way, even though you're paying for shipping. Plus, the reptile stores I go to are like always out for some reason. And they never carry, I can never find the breeding formula, which I know is not that different, but I don't know, I've had success with it. I've never had eggs go bad while I fed it. And then once I stopped feeding it, I started having some eggs go bad. So that's that. I might add a little bit of calcium to the adults. Oh, and one more thing I do with the adults, shoot. I put my male in with my two new females that aren't quite as nice as my other two. But they were given to me for free, so I can't really complain. And there's just a tiny bit of food left in that bag, so we won't have to open this other one. But I was told one of the females is laying infertile, and he doesn't know which one. So I'll probably try to find that out. I'll probably throw one in with my other two, and I mean it'll be 3 in there, and that's kind of crowded. It's like more than I would want, but if I can figure out which one's laying duds and sell it as a pet only, and that way I don't have to worry about it. But anyway, what I'm doing is I'm just adding water. It's more like just under 50%, or just under a 1-to-1. So say you have like 1 tablespoon of food or something like that. You want just under 1 tablespoon of water. Because you can always just add water. It's easier to add water than it would be to add more food. And then I just have a box of toothpicks sitting up here. I think it's at Walmart. It's like a box of 500 toothpicks for like a couple dollars. Like, toothpicks aren't expensive. And then you just mix up to the right consistency so you don't have any chunks or dry stuff. And it's never an exact science. I mean, it could be. In a couple months, when I probably have more breeders going and more babies hatching, I'll take one of these squirt bottles. I have a second one because I knew I was going to need it. And I'll start mixing the food in it. And then it can all be the same consistency for every gecko. And then I'll just squirt it into cups for them. And this is basically how I do it. So I'm just going to mix these up. And the reason they're on a lid is because you will end up spilling some. And then you just have to wipe it up with like a damp paper towel. And I did actually get this cleaning spray. So I got this because I wanted this bottle with the fancy tube that takes all the fluid from the bottom. But I couldn't find it empty. I couldn't find an empty one online. So I was like, oh, I'll just buy this for $3 and dump it out. and it smells a lot like bleach, which I happen to really like the smell of bleach. I think it's very clean. And I was just like, huh, I could use this to wipe my table. So now I'm like, well, I can't throw it out. So what I put my chlorohexidine in. So what I might end up doing is just buying an extra one, a second one, because they're only like $3. I mean, and then probably just dump and rinse out the contents, and then I have my empty one. Because if I'm just using it to wipe down my table, and it's very strong, if I'm just using it to wipe down my table, it's gonna last quite a while. So I'll probably just pick up another one next time I go to Walmart and dump one of them out. If anything, I would water it down, and that way it's not quite as strong. But nevertheless, I'm gonna speed this up and we'll get you going. Alright, so that's about gonna wrap it up. All I'm gonna do is take the old ones out, throw these in, spray the cages down, and check their waters. They're all varied amounts, and the reason for that is the amount of geckos and the size of the geckos in the enclosure. Like, this one's very little, whereas something like this has a bit more. This one's got, it's not an exact science. I know there's a couple small geckos, so I just make a couple with a little. And I make sure everyone's got plenty to eat. So I do, some food always goes to waste, but at the end of the day, it's worth it for me that my animals are healthy and they have the opportunity for all the food they can eat, rather than, maybe they don't get it all. And what happens if I give them a little bit less next time too and I don't realize it? Then they're just gonna be a little stunted, and that's not really what I want. So that's it for today's video. I'm gonna feed all my geckos. I'll throw a clip of that scorpion with the babies in at some point. And I'm James from James' Reptiles. I'll see you at the show. Like if you liked it, comment, subscribe, share with someone. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at James' Reptiles, James'sReptiles@gmail.com, and have a good one.